So in this one little job, Windows Live Mail helped out because they gave me the error of out of licenses basically, and I had to remember about the how to restore the SPS license back up. And a few days before, I had to know to check the log files for Active Sync to clear there because they had a 70 gig drive. 45 gigs was the log files for Active Sync, which is ridiculous.
And let me ask you this: in the event that they, let's just say, they didn't have this backup file and they couldn't find their paperwork, would they have to buy additional CALs from Microsoft?
uh, if there's no record of their license, if they didn't buy them on an open license or something, yeah, they'd have to buy a new one. Um, but of course, if you're having a good backup exec or whatever you're using for backing up, that auto licstr.cpi should be on a backup somewhere. So you'd have to lose a lot of stuff and not be doing backups to do that.
Right.
So do your backups.
There you go. So then after you restarted the service, you said after 30 seconds, then the problem
Yeah, it
went
showed
away.
back up again. I go to OWA, he's able to log in fine, and it works. And his email client started working too, but at that point he changed his mind and said he'd rather use OWA.
You had mentioned that you used a Windows Live Mail. Are these same errors within the event viewer, or could you have found these errors a different way?
Yeah, that I did see them in the event log when I knew what I was looking for,
Gotcha.
but to of course to look and don't forget this server has problems and needs to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So the event logs were out
Just,
of control.
just fill with stuff, I imagine.
Yeah. So it was easier to set up. And I was trying to prove to him that it was working because at this point I didn't even know anything about license files until I got the error also. I thought it was just him doing things wrong again. So that's my assumption that I made.
There you
It
go.
wasn't his fault this time. It's the first time for everything.
Cool. Well, I definitely think you solved the problem that some would take a long time to figure
Yeah,
out.
so
But
yeah, Windows Live Mail, I do like it for the errors because it does, I think, give better error messages. So I
gotcha.
said I can do it in Outlook as another Outlook mail profile for me, and it just will say same thing, pops up using a password, and that's all you get. Not very informative. So that was interesting.
Cool.
Oh, and if you want to prevent those active sync logs from filling up, you can go into IIS Manager, and you can go to the site for active sync and go to the properties of that, and then uncheck log visits. Some people don't want to do that because they're worried if they're not logging visits and something happens, then there's no log of it. But it's up to the client if they're really think that something's going to happen and
Right.
they have to worry about logging those visits.
Okay.
Or they can wait till the log fills up again and you can do the whole thing of clearing the log files and restoring the SPS license back up. Either way.
Yeah. I when I managed a network, and what I did was have alerts like go off if the hard drive space was low. So
Yes, and we have that set up at this place. It's actually done through Trend Micro because Trend Micro has a notification to go out for low disk space.
okay.
But this client is not a service agreement, so those notifications do not go to us.
Gotcha.
They go to the designated person at that company, and that person chose to ignore them.
Darn you, Mary.
So we took the opportunity to remind them that we can monitor these things for them if they want a service agreement, so they may go with that.
Gotcha.
That's the best time to bring it up when after they have problems. Now that migration I did, it wasn't a migration. We did a new domain, and instead of migrating, so this was a clean install, small business server, actually 2008. Uh, so Exchange 2007 on here. Everything's clean install. Everything should work very easily. But I was having problems after it was installed with people not being able to send mail. So internally, so the owner couldn't send mail to the receptionist. Receptionist couldn't send mail to the office manager. It was random. Sometimes it would go, sometimes it wouldn't. It was very random things. The Outlook address book wasn't updating. So if you know, of course, in Outlook with Exchange, you got the global address list, which is a listing of all the addresses in the organization. Some names weren't showing up, and it was random. Which some people would see some names, others would see other names. So it's not like the same name wasn't showing up for everybody. It was different. It was very strange things happening. We had a few other companies on Exchange 2007 having similar strange issues. Uh, but luckily, this can be an easy fix. And the point I want to say for this, if you're running Exchange 2007, you need to install Service Pack 3. Without Service Pack 3, you are going to have some problems. And one weird thing about this, if you're running Microsoft Update on the server, which of course you should be, and you go check for updates, even if you don't have Service Pack 3, it's not going to show it as an available update.
Why is that? 'Cause it's not a critical update?
Oh, it's critical, but I don't know why. It just will not show up as an available update. You have to manually download it and install it.
So not only is Service Pack 3 for Exchange 2007 a roll-up of updates, but it addresses a certain
A
number of
lot.
bugs.
There's so many things that it fixes. I had three places having weird issues emailing with Exchange 2007, and they were all different issues. It wasn't the same issue at each place, but Service Pack 3 fixed all of them.
It's outstanding.
But one caveat. If you're running Exchange 2007 and you go to Windows, a Microsoft Update, let's say you're running Service Pack 1.
Okay.
Microsoft Update, you'll see, I think the latest one thing is Exchange Rollup 10 for Service Pack 1. You'll see that update. And yes, you should install it. But after that's installed and you go back to Microsoft Update, you won't see any more updates available. So you have to go manually download Service Pack 3, install that. After that's installed, of course, reboot, then go back to Microsoft Update, and there's Exchange Rollup Pack, I think it's 5 or 6 for Exchange '07 SP3. So those need to be done. And you really need to do them in that order because we attempted to install Service Pack 3 on an Exchange server that did not have any service packs. So just straight Exchange '07. And that was a nightmare. The server was down for about 2 days while we had to fix it.
Wow. Okay. So let's quickly go over the sequence of events that you recommend. So you recommend doing the Windows update. You said to, if available, to your Service Pack 1 Rollup 10, right?
Yes, if you don't have any service packs, don't try. At least maybe it was just bad luck. But we went straight to SP3 and it screwed up. So I would install SP1 and then go through the Microsoft update so there's no more updates for SP1, then install Service Pack 3, and then do the updates for Microsoft Update. The first one we did straight to SP3, it was down for 2 days.
From no service pack.
Right. From no service pack straight to SP3.
See, I wonder if it's very similar to HP. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't go from no service pack straight to Service Pack 3. You have to go to Service Pack 1, then go up to Service Pack 3. I mean, it'll give you a message. I'm surprised if that is the case with Exchange 2007, why they don't say the same thing.
Yeah, and it installed fine. I mean, it said it installed fine, but when they rebooted, nothing for Exchange would work. Mail services wouldn't start. It was pretty bad. So
And then,
ever since then, I've
yeah,
I've done Microsoft Update to get to the at least SP1 Rollup 10. And so from Exchange '07 SP1 Rollup Pack 10, I've installed SP3 successfully 4 or 5 places.
Okay.
Um,
Uh, and take his word for it because there, you feel pretty lonely when you're there and the services won't start and the phone starts to ring. You you're like the only man on the island.
yes. Luckily, the place where it went bad
Hmm.
was our office.
Okay,
So it wasn't a customer, it was ours.
sure. But and you were like, why are we getting no cases? This is amazing.
It's a nice day today.
Then of course, if you're asking if does the update require a reboot, I assume so, right? Because it's a Microsoft product.
Actually, I don't think SP3 did require a reboot.
No, okay.
No.
Well, as always, if you are supporting an environment that's in production hours, I'll make sure you either do the update after hours or you just don't bounce the bots in the middle at 1
Yeah.
p.m. in the afternoon. So
Well, that's when I do it, but because I don't want to work late.
but there you go.
Um, but I do like, even if it doesn't require a reboot for these kind of things, I'll reboot it anyway, just because I want to come back up and see if it's working okay.
Now, do you notify the users via email? The server will be rebooted in 20 minutes or so. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, yeah, usually. Well, when I'm doing this, I have the users get out anyway,
Okay.
and I tell them I'll tell the office manager I'm going to give you a call when you can have your people get back in.
Okay, good. So there's some a protocol that you follow.
Yes, I have them
Okay,
all get out. Yeah,
gotcha.
and like David, I don't remember it needing a reboot,
Okay.
but I'll reboot it anyway. Make sure it comes back up okay. Plus, then I wanted to do the Microsoft update to get the roll-up pack for SP3. So I wanted to make sure it was fully updated, and I tested before I let them get back in.
Sweet.
So, oh 07 SP3, you need it.
All right.
Any weird problem with mail and you're on Exchange oh 07, look for the updates. I don't care
Yeah.
what the problem is, look for updates.
If Notepad does not open up fast enough for you, apply Service Pack 3. I'm
That's
playing. Don't do that.
right. And I had an interesting problem today. Um, one of my I sent one of my techs went out to go install a new computer somewhere. Just, you know, thing we do it every day.
Right.
Install a new computer. Well, he calls me right before lunch too. Anyway, I had to work through lunch, but he says I'm having a strange problem. If I go to Windows Explorer to his My Documents folder, which is on the network, all of his files and folders show up there. He says, but if I go open up Microsoft Word, go to File, Open, he said only a few files show up. Even if I click on all files,
Okay.
only a few things show up.
Because that was going to be my next question if you drop down to all files.
Yep. In Word, Excel, he said all of them.
Is this 2003, 2007, 10?
It's a server exchange. I'm sorry, SBS 2008 server,
Okay.
and he's running Windows 7 Professional, and this is Office 2010.
Hmm.
So he says I can't. He says I've been messing with this thing for half an hour. So he called me, and so I connect,
And then you told them apply Service Pack 3 to exchange.
and then we actually already did that there,
Okay.
because they were having issues with that.
Okay.
Um, so I said, I don't understand what you're talking about. And I'm not sure if I'm explaining it well. So he opens up Windows Explorer and he goes to his user folder, his server slash user slash his username, and everything's there. There's 2,000 files in there and you can see them fine. You go to open up Word, File, Open. You look in his My Documents, and it might be 40 files, even though it's set to all file types. So I'm thinking, okay, it's some kind of corrupt index or something. So I go into the indexing options in the control panel, tell it to delete and rebuild the indexes. Same thing. It just stops. It stops in the C's. So nothing below C is visible. So I said, let me try something. So I connected, I did file open, and I let it in the box.